by is one of the most difficult syntaxes to learn in SQL, especially for beginners. Welcome, my name is Mimi. In this video, I'm going to be walking you through how you can better understand group by, and we're going to be doing some examples. Let's head over to the computer. Alright, let's get started. So to understand group by in SQL, let's answer those questions here. So first one, and we're going to be using these two tables. First one says, give us a count of employees by gender. And for this, we're going to be using this employee table right here. I can see the gender field here. So I'm going to copy this here, the base query, and I'm going to paste it at the bottom here. So anytime you hear give us a count of something by something, that should tell you that you need to do a group by. Group by questions can come in different varieties. So for us, we know that we need to group by gender because we want to see count for each gender. So I'm going to come right here after from, I'm going to do a group by. Group by what? We want to group by gender because here we have the gender field on this table. Now with group by, unlike the other syntaxes that we've learned, like where, other by, if I execute this, I'm going to get an error. Why? This is because with group by, I cannot use the star here. I'm grouping by gender. Anytime I'm grouping by something, then I can only return that thing that I'm grouping by unless I use it in what we call aggregate functions like sum, count, and we're going to see that in this example. So for now, I can only have this thing that I'm grouping by, which is gender. I'm going to put gender right here. Now I'm going to remove the star. So now if I execute this, this is going to give me the distinct. It's just working like distinct. It's going to give me all the distinct gender that we have. But we've been asked to return a count of each. So to do a count, I'm going to put this down here. Let's do a comma. Now we want to count. Count is one of the aggregate functions. So count, what do we want to count? We want to count, if I go back and run the select star here, we can see that we have business entity ID, which is a non-duplicated record here. So we want to count the business entity ID. So I'm going to say business entity ID. And now if I execute this, this is fine. Now it's telling us that we have 84 female and we have 207 male. Now we need to alias this. So I'm going to say as count of employees. Count of employees right here. And I'm going to now execute this. So now this is still saying the same thing, but now we have a name for the column. So you see how if I try to do this business entity ID outside of the count here, and I do it like this, I'm going to get an error. Let's bring this to another line. So if I try to do this, I'm going to get an error because, and if you read the error message, it's saying that this business entity ID is invalid because it is not contained in the aggregate function or the group by clause. It's saying that this ID, I did not see it in the group by, so I cannot bring it here. So the only reason why this one works because we already put the business entity ID in an aggregate function. So this is fine. So now we can answer the question and say this many people are for each gender. Okay. Now let's go to the next question. Next question says, give us a sum of vacation hours and the average sick leave hours by job title. So I'm just going to copy this base query here. Let's start a new one. So select from. Now let's remind ourselves of the columns that we have on this table. If I execute this, and I will see here that we've been told to check it by job title. So now this is job title. So we can say group by job title right here. And remember that we cannot have the star here. So I can have the job title here. Fine. Now, it's asking us to give a sum of vacation hours. Everyone for a particular job title, we want to see the total vacation hours. So now we can use another aggregate function called sum. So I'll say sum. We want to sum what? We want to sum the vacation hours. So vacation hours is right here. So I want to sum vacation hours. Okay. Now, if I execute this, this is going to not have a column name. Execute. So no column name. So we need to give it a name, and we need to give the name a name to the column. So I'm going to say as, let's say total vacation hours. Okay. Now if we execute this, we're good. Now let's answer the second part of this is asking for the average sick leave hours. So if we come here and we can say another aggregate function is average. So with average, we'll do AVG. So average is AVG in SQL. Average, we want to check the average of sick leave hours. So sick leave hours. So let's give it an alias. So say average sick leave hours. Okay. Now, if we execute this, now this is fine. This is saying for all the accountants that we have, they have a total of 117 vacation hours. Now, if we wanted to see how many people are in each job title grouping, then we will need to do a count. So I'm going to add a count here. Say, okay, let's count. What do we want to count? Just like we did up here, we want to count the business entity ID. So I'm going to say business entity ID. So let's give it an alias. So let's say this one would be also count of employees. Okay. So now if we execute this finally, now we know that we have two accountants. They have this many vacation hours and they have this average sick leave hours. Okay, so for the last question, we are going to be using this table, this inventory table. If I execute this, we'll notice that the question is asking us how many products are in each shelf. So we can see here that product 1 is in shelf A in bin 1. Product 1 is also in shelf B, but now we can see product 1 is also in shelf A again, but it's in a different bin. But we just want to see the count. We don't want to see a duplicated count. Okay, so I'm going to copy this base query here. I'm going to put it at the bottom here. Okay, so now if we want to do this, then we will be doing a group by chef. So let me do group by. Group by, we want to group by chef. So chef, and now chef. And if we want, we can see chef right here. Now we want to see the count, how many product IDs. So if I do, okay, let's do count of product ID. I'm going to alias this as count of product. Okay, now let's execute this. Okay, I'm going to sort this by chef just to prove that point. So no, we can do order by what? We want order by chef. So that we can see chef A, because we saw that chef, see right now it's showing that we have 81 products in chef A, but that's not true because we saw earlier when I ran that select star here that there are duplicates. This product ID 11 is in A 2 times, even more than 2 if we check all the data. So how do we get rid of duplicates? The way we can do that is to add a distinct. So we've learned distinct before. Now we can use and say count distinct. Before I do the distinct, let me just duplicate this so that we can see the difference. I'm going to put it here, and for this one we're going to do the distinct. Okay, now let's run both query at the same time. Okay, so now let's see what we get. Notice here for the first one that we did not do a distinct, we have 81 for A. When we did a distinct, we have 54. So that's how you can get rid of duplicates when you have it in a group by. You can say count count distinct, meaning that I want you to get rid of duplicates. This one is just saying count product IDs, meaning that when there are duplicates, it's going to count it multiple times. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please remember to like and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next time. Bye.